Hey, it's Lily back again with another video. So today I'm actually at La Perla in Los Angeles and I grabbed my, it's a green theme kind of today. I have my green tea here and I am just exploring LA for today and gotta go get myself some coffee and then relax at the Perla in LA. And today's convo, I actually wanted to talk about. I have my notes down here. Actually, I have this Kindle that this book that I was reading, and I wanted to talk about how you can find your niche or you can find your zone of genius. And I'm sure you guys heard of this, but if you haven't, this video would be perfect for you. So I thought of this idea to talk about because I actually been in a lot of spaces in work where I felt like I worked extremely hard at it and I didn't get anywhere. I also have skills that I spend a lot of time improving that I'm just not naturally gifted at, and I know other people are. And there's other places in my life that I worked not very hard in spaces and I had a lot of success. And so I want to talk about how you can find your zone of genius or your that sweet spot, I like to say, so you can maximize your life and find ways that you can build a living between doing your zone of genius or the sweet spot. I like call it the sweet spot. The reason why I call it a sweet spot is because it's kind of like the intersection between things that you're naturally really good at, that you're obsessed with doing it, and you can get paid doing it, and as well, I guess you don't mind if you don't get paid doing it either. So for example, if you're in maybe an engineer and you spend time just building and growing things from engineering, right? Like maybe you build things from scratch or from software, any type of engineer that you are, and you're absolutely obsessed about building and creating. And maybe that could be your zone of genius. Maybe people hire you and seek you out for a specialized experience, and people are willing to pay for you at high degrees. So how I discover my zone of genius is I discover that I had certain skills and abilities that came really easy to me. For example, I was really good at writing, I was really good at communication, and I was really good as well in art. And so I had a combination of a lot of skill sets growing up. Some of the things that I absolutely think that a lot of people told me that was not useful or I wasn't sure I was going to apply it, but I found a lot of enjoyment. So I'm just going to pick one of them, which is writing. I found a lot of my experiences when I began to write did extremely good. Every time I would write reports or I would organize reports in my writing, like blogs or articles or newsletters, I gotten the most results out of it. Like I had people reading my blog, I had people reading my newsletter, or I just got better response during that time. And I can just tell you that I write and write, and with even when I don't get paid to doing it, I just absolutely love it. And so how you find your zone of genius or your sweet spot is, what do you really like to do on your free time? Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any things that you really love doing regardless of the pay or not? Do you have a skill set that people have told you that you're really good at? And so maybe you can go back and look around and think back, or I like to always grab a piece of paper or jot things down. We'll have people compliment you on, such as maybe your hospitality, maybe people comment on you and your excellent customer service, maybe you're a great writer, a speaker, maybe you're a great dancer, something like that. Someone has always complimented you on this part. Number two is find your sweet spot is something that is really easy and comes natural to you. And a lot of us actually don't know this part because we are lost between what we previously have done and have grown. So as children, especially children, are really, you can spot really easily what they're naturally gifted for. So think back of your childhood and think about what is something that you absolutely loved to do when you were a kid and that you were obsessed about, or something that you did on your free time that people you just couldn't stop doing. For me, it was painting, it was writing, it was reading. Like I had a deep obsession of just coloring and journaling and sketching. Like I just love that. And every year I would look forward to, especially on Christmas, that I would get a whole palette of new crayons and colored pencils, paints, and everything, and a new sketchbook. So I filled up my sketchbook from like left to right. I literally savored the papers, this every single paper that I had, because I wasn't sure if I was going to get more journals in the future. And so I went through them so quickly. And I also used to write, like as a little girl, let me tell you, I would write journals and journals. I don't know if you guys seen those like 99 cents journals that are like kind of have a static in black. And those used to be 99 cents or 50 cents each. And I would actually buy one or two of those at the beginning of my school year because they were one, the most affordable ones that I could afford. And two, I would actually write journals and journals full of them every month. As literally 10-12-year-old girl, I will write journals and journals stack full of them. Eventually I collected about like 10 to 20 journals. At age 13-14, I was like writing like crazy as a little girl, and I was writing about like actions, I was writing about folk tales, I was writing about mystery, I was reading about my life too, living in a city. It's so funny now, I'm in a city, Los Angeles, and I love the city, like absolutely love the city. And I would daydream about the type of jobs that I work in. I daydream a lot about being a writer, being an artist, traveling, meeting people who's staying in really nice hotels like this. And so find something that you were a kid and you knew that you absolutely loved, and retrace back those steps and redo those things. Because I think a lot of people lose touch about what they really love because they're so ingrained about what society or what you currently need to do and all the responsibilities that we have now as an adult. So spend some time and return where you used to be. And as a little girl, little boy, whatever you identify yourself as, but go back and find joy in those spaces that you find happiness in those simple things. Number 2 or number 3 or 4, because I'm losing track of it, and I will challenge you too if you feel like you're not really good at anything, or you feel like you don't know your interest or you have too much interest. So I know a lot of people say I'm not really good at anything. Well, I would disagree. I am sure there's somewhere in your life that you're really good at and that you have learned a skill. If you don't, I think it's also a really exciting time for you too, because it's a time of exploration. So I highly 100% agree. It's to try everything, try so many things, try things that you really really want to try, and see if you can go and do that, enjoy that. That might be baking, it might be from like traveling, it could be writing, it could be creating things online, stuff like that. I highly suggest you start exploring what naturally gravitates towards you. So build and do those interests so then you will know what you really like. Number 2 is, a lot of people say that they have a lot of interests, like maybe they have a 10,000 list of things that they're really interested in. I would say that's really awesome. Try them all and enjoy them all and do as well. But if you want to make a living and you want to find one career of something that you're really good at, you need to decide from 1 or 2. I would say the more narrow you are in the specifics of your skills, the more likely that you'll get paid or highly qualified in those spaces. So, for example, if you like writing or public speaking, I have two things as well. For my example, I would focus on buying courses, mentors, writing more, practicing those skills often. 1, because you're naturally already gifted in those areas, and 2, you have already a competitive advantage between people who don't have that as their natural skills. And then the last part is that when you train and you educate yourself in those high sweet spots that you're in, the more likely you become more of an expert and a desirable person for that kind of space. So if you're a really great writer, you're a really great public speaker, maybe you're really good at speaking, I would take public speaking classes. I would write every day. I would go try to take writing classes, places that are creative writing, so then it could help you at least build those skills and make you very competitive in those spaces. Okay, so I'm looking down on my Kindle because I read this really great book, and this really great book is called Everyone Should Be a Millionaire, and I'm sure you probably heard of it. It's called by Rachel Robbins, I believe, and she does a really great job breaking it down on her chapter summary. And I am so shook that I found this book. This book is so good. I actually went to see her here this week to say I love your book because I'm such a fan. I think that book really spoke to me. The last part is that I know sometimes we go to places where we feel like we try extremely hard, or like, for example, I used to have a job. I had a 9-to-5 corporate job that I just did not really like at all. I'm just going to be honest. And I tried extremely hard to be at that job. Like, I would work so many hours. I don't know. I just don't know what with that job. I just did not like that job. Sometimes we pick places and jobs that are not supposed to be for us, and it's really difficult to keep going. And so I used to dread waking up to that job. That job paid me really, really good, but I hated it. Like, I hated that job, and every day was extremely difficult. Even like the normal things I had to do for the job it took a very long time, and I had no energy. For some point in my life, I believed that I was maybe just lazy and I wasn't working hard enough. And I don't believe that now. I think sometimes people who are, I would say, lazy, sometimes are just not placed in the right spaces. Sometimes the place or their job that they are at are not suited for them. They're not supposed to be there. And that's why they become lazy. They're built for something different. And so maybe if you ever felt like you were lazy at your job, or you were just lazy someplace, or you feel that way even though you try, it's not that. Like, you're just in the wrong space. And so sometimes what happens is that we would tell ourselves that we just are not hardworking, and that we're lazy because we don't want to do things that just don't come naturally, or just not that exciting for us. I think sometimes lazy people are really smart. I'm not gonna lie, because sometimes when you're lazy, you actually try to find the most efficient way to get there, the most simplest and easiest way. Sometimes people who are hardworking, for example, like me, sometimes I used to be extremely hardworking in everything in my life, is that I would work till the grind, to the bone, to get things done. And the truth is, that is not always the best way, because one, I always burn out, and number two is that sometimes some processes are just much more easier than than going all in and all that. So lazy people, I think we can learn from them because they're just efficient. Sometimes they're just smarter than us, and they know they don't need to put in half of the work. And that's why some lazy people are actually, a lot of lazy people lead high executive lives. They don't like doing more than they need to. And I'm kind of slowly approaching to that thing, so I'm not gonna lie. But I think I don't call it lazy anymore. I call it more efficient. So be productive, We're not busy, we're productive here, and we're efficient. So I like to tell about that. And so the last question I always wanted to share, and before I finish this video, is that what value do you bring to this world, and how can you provide value to people around you? And I think when you discover that question and you find your sweet spot, is where a multitude of things are going to come to you. Money, opportunities, your life opens up. And honestly, I have been discovering that so quickly in my life, and I think I have a really great idea what it is, but hopefully this video is helpful for you and help you guide you where you need to be. Until next time, bye.